techniques that are going to be apparent once you get your opponent into this position. I don't want you to get too caught up with what you can do or not do. We're just going to go over two things from here. Okay. So again, I broke my opponent down first, and then I'm worried about my grip here. One thing to worry about: the leg that you're not going to base on the floor. Keep it tight to your opponent's body, because a lot of you guys, like, you would be sitting out like this, and then, yeah, exactly, and you let your partner get down here, and then you get that knee over, and then they start passing your guard, right? So, as you sit out, make sure the leg you're not basing on the floor stays tight to your opponent's body, and you get that clamp guard here. Now, my goal is to get to the triangle position. I'm going to give you two different options. There's way more than two, but two different options to kind of start you out. The first one, if I'm taller than my opponent, I'm probably going to be able to just push their wrist out, get my leg free, and get into the triangle position here. But if not, or my opponent's being tight with his elbow, yeah, it's hard to push his wrist out, right? As long as I have control of this wrist, I should be able to square back up. So I'm here, my knee is going to act like a lever. I square my hips back up, and now I'm able to push his wrist forward as I bring my knee towards my head to make space for that triangle. Okay? So again, two options from here. If your opponent's being lazy with the elbow and there's a giant gap right here, just take your foot out, go right to the triangle. Or they're a little bit more experienced and they know what they're doing. As long as you're controlling the wrist, my foot, a good rule of thumb is I like to step on my opponent's hip here. You can see my foot. Went from here to stepping on my opponent's hip. Now using that foot on the hip, I can swing my hips back square, push his wrist as I bring my knee up towards my face to get the triangle position here. Okay. Again, from here, I'm going to get his arm in position. Control the grip, rotate until I'm perpendicular. I can either get the full grip on the triangle, or if you're not tall enough, you're going to get it mid-calf, line your shins up, and stop that foot to the floor. Any questions? Should be old news by now. Go. All right, all three. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's get getting to the position. So again, I'm not trying to go for the overhook and the wrist right from here. I need to break his posture first. Okay? So I break his posture first, and then I get to the overhook. And then control the wrist. Again, this knee stays tight as I make my move here, or else he's going to start to pass. Right? From here, again, a lot of you guys are having trouble getting the foot out this way. That's fine. Remember, step on their hip, square back up. Okay? Now I can push that wrist, get my foot through to this triangle position here. My opponent's smart. They know that in order for me to finish this triangle, I need to get my arm across the belly. So they hide that arm behind me. Here, exactly. Once it's here, it's really hard to get out. Okay? Especially if they're connecting their hands or they're grabbing their gi or something, right? So we're gonna go with the flow, just like we always do in jiu-jitsu. We're gonna get to the Omoplata from here. How you get there is up to you. But you have to remember one thing. I need to now get parallel, so we're parallel in opposite directions, right? I need to get parallel in the same direction. So he's facing this way, I'm facing this way. By the end of this technique, we're both gonna be facing the same direction. Okay? So I'll show you what I like to do, but from there you can play jazz. You're going to grab your own shin, your opposite foot is going to base on the floor, and I'm going to use this to turn my body as I bring my shin across his head here. Okay? I can't stop here though. Look, I'm perpendicular, right? I have to continue on, and I establish a grip on his lower body as soon as possible because I don't want him to roll. At least I don't want him to roll without me. 2 points of priority from here. As you're making this move, getting your shin across the other side of his head, I need to stay heavy on his shoulder. If he's able to posture up, I've lost everything. Okay? So again, as you're making this move, so you grab your shin however you want, you get it to the other side of his head, your foot's on the ground. I'm basing really hard down on his elbow here. You can't see it right now, but I'm clamping my elbow down. If I'm lazy here and he postures up, yeah, he's out. Okay? So, in order to prevent that, I'm clamping everything. He tries to posture out, he's stuck here, right? Continue my move. As soon as I can, I grab his legs, preferably his waist, but I'm not that flexible. From here, you can cross your legs, sit up, cover his waist. If you want to finish the Omoplata, I have to get his hips to the mat. A simple way to do that is base your other hand out, and you continue to sit out towards your free side until you've broken your opponent down. From here, you're going to curl your legs back and go 45 degrees to his opposite ear for the tap. Okay? We're going to try that first, and then we're going to go on to what happens if that doesn't work. Because I'm not going to lie, there's not a lot of Omoplata finishes in jiu-jitsu. So again, I break my opponent's posture down, get to the modified clamp guard here. Whoa, right? Again, if you're short like me, you step on the hip, you square back up, and you get to the triangle position. Your opponent's smart. they start hiding that arm. Cool. I gotta switch to my omoplata now. From here, I catch, again, making sure everything stays heavy. My goal is to get parallel. So I get the leg on the other side of his head, start to roll parallel. For those of you who are familiar with the omoplata, we're gonna go to an armbar from here. 90% of the time, your opponent's gonna roll out of the omoplata. So when your opponent rolls, you're gonna point your knee towards their head. Okay? I was here. As they roll, I'm pointing it towards their head. As soon as I can, I get control of the wrist. Because if I don't, he's going to stay here. Yeah, exactly. He's going to hitchhiker escape. So, again, all this happens at the same time. As I point my knee towards his head, I get his wrist. And I'm not going to finish the arm by pulling it towards me like I normally do. See his pinky? I'm going to push it towards where the pinky is. Which is going to be really weird. It's going to be horizontal this way. Okay? So let's look at that again. Daniel calls this the Kosen armbar. This is my favorite option from the omoplata. From here, I bring my opponent down. I get to the clamp guard. Here, get to the triangle position. He hides his arm. So I immediately start going into my omoplata flow. But he rolls. As he's rolling, I point my knees in the opposite direction towards his head. Get a double control on his wrist. And finish the arm lock towards the pinky. Any questions?
Doesn't matter which foot. So you know how you rotate. Doesn't matter which foot.
Base is on the floor?
Yeah.
Yes, it does. So if you're overhooking with the left arm, I want your right leg tight to his body, and I want your base on the floor with the left foot in order to scoot your hips out. Make sure your bottom leg is still tight to his belly so he can't push it down and pass. Okay. So we got the triangle, we got the omoplata, and then we got the Kosen armbar from the omoplata from there. Any questions?
Wait, one more. The transition from the triangle to the omoplata.
Triangle to the omoplata, yes? Yeah. So it might look a little bit complicated at first, right? So I'm here. My goal is twofold. Get parallel, get my top shin on the same side of my body. Okay? So again, from here, I grab my shin however you want. If you're real flexible, you can do stuff like that, right? Opposite foot is going to hit the floor. That's going to help me get parallel. As I turn my body parallel, I bring my shin across to the same side. So now we're all on the same side of his body, right? I continue to turn. As soon as I can, I get a lower body grip here so he can't roll, unless I want him to roll. Okay. Let's say he's struggling to roll. Cool. I dictate when he rolls. I let go. He starts that roll. Now I can point my legs towards his head and catch the armbar on the way out. I dictate when he rolls. I'm deciding, not reacting. He's reacting to me. Any questions?
For the position for the armbar, are you tucking your feet under?
Yes, I am. Yep. Tucking my feet under and pointing my knees towards his head. Yes. Because that's going to prevent him from being able to, hitchhiker out. Go. Alright, on three. 1, 2, 3. Running the drill on Dan. It's the overhook. Again, that was a little bit lazy there. Look at the final product. Here. I want to see the legs connected. Look, you could even from here, you could see a gap between his leg and Dan's belly. Got to close that gap or else Dan's going to push that foot down, start to pass over. He's not enough far on his side, so he's got to base out a little bit more. And this overhook has to be higher on his opponent. Here. That's better, but that bottom, let me rewind it 1 second. That bottom leg is giving me concerns. Look at all this space. We should not be able to see that space there. His leg should be glued to Dan's belly. We go to opposite side this time. Oh, nope. Here. See if he fixes that problem. He's just being too lazy with that bottom leg. Got Dave on top and Chris on the bottom, just running very light resistance through the first drill or the first game. Chris is basically looking for that clamp guard position. Wants an overhook. Yep, looks pretty good. Wants that leg. I'd like to see that leg a little bit higher on Dave's back to make it harder for Dave to posture up. Got a good grip on the forearm. He's nice and high with this overhook. He might be able to get a little bit higher, but overall pretty good. There we go. Like how we made that adjustment with that leg and the arm. Pretty good. Again, they're not running through too much resistance. Just playing those task-based games. So he goes to this side. He's got an underhook on this side. Again, not bad. Not what we're looking for this week, but there are a lot of things you can do with the underhook here. Number one being, you can go right to your opponent's back. Again, there's nothing wrong with having the underhook. I just told him for this week we're specifically working a series from the overhook. You could get a little bit higher with the leg and the overhook as well. Again, you want the overhook closer to your opponent's shoulder than their elbow. Doing a good job getting creative, using the collar to break his opponent's posture down. Again, I want to see his leg a little bit higher. And he uses, oh, there we go. That was very nice swim through with the underhook. He's got to get a little bit on this side. And I like to see the finishing position. I like to see this knee like way up high towards Dave's neck. Alyssa on the bottom and Britt on top. Alyssa breaks the posture forward. Gets to the overhook. A little bit shallow. She needs to be a little bit higher. There we go. I'd like to see her a little bit of a more on her. I don't want to say more on her side, but her hips a little bit out from her opponent. She's a little bit too underneath her opponent still. And again, inside position with the arms pays off. So here, got opponent's hands on the mat. Gonna swim inside to get to the overhook. Good. I'd like to see her place her left foot on the ground to base her hips out. Oh, there we go. Yep, base her hips out. I'd like to see her base her hips out a little bit more too. You definitely don't want to be underneath your opponent. You want to be as far outside your opponent's hips as possible. Number one, you don't want to be carrying their weight. Number two, it's going to set up the triangle. Just here, she goes directly to the overhook. Hips out. Again, I'd like to see the hip a little bit further out, but not bad. I'd like to see two things actually. Hip a little bit further out and leg a little bit higher on the body. Overhook position from here looks good. Britt giving her some tips. I think she's telling her to get a tighter overhook, maybe a little bit higher. I don't know what they're talking about here. I believe they run it again. There we go. Overhook. Got to be higher on the overhook. Faces out. Yeah. The leg is nice and high this time. Again, I like to see the hips a little bit higher. And from what I saw, her overhook could be a little bit higher towards the shoulder. Pretty good. Kai on the bottom. This is with much more resistance. They're not quite sparring yet, but they're giving each other a lot more resistance. Jacob on top trying to deny Kai that clamp guard position. Oh, very good. I stop right there. Rewind it a second. Let's see how he got there and see what he could fix. Here. So Jacob's doing a good job keeping his arms in his opponent's biceps, not letting him get inside control. Boom. Kai manages to get his wrist on the inside, swims through, goes immediately to, oh, I missed it. Sorry about that. Immediately to the overhook, swims through, immediately goes to the overhook. He's got to sit his hips out a little bit more, and he's got to be way higher towards Jacob's shoulder. Jacob obviously being very nice right now. One thing he did very well is to control that far wrist and not let Jacob post on that wrist. If he posts on his elbow, his posture is still relatively low. If he posts on his hand, his posture is way higher. From here, I'd like to see his hips out a little bit more. And again, like I said before, trying to get a little bit closer to his opponent's body with that overhook. On it back, Jacob denying him inside position. Got the wrist. Let's see if we can turn that into an overhook. Oh, Jacob gets it back. Kai still looking for that inside position. Good overhook with the left hand right now. Chooses not to. There we go now. Well, maybe kind of. Jacob again controlling the biceps. Gets an underhook this time for Kai. Controlling the wrist. Then got to get inside position. The overhook. Oh, there we go. That was nice. Let's look at that again. So they're hand fighting here. Kai bases out. Jacob drops his oh, I don't know what that was, but that was cool. Jacob drops his posture here. Kai lets go of the wrist, goes immediately to the overhook, controls the far arm. That's pretty good. He's broken his, look how close Jacob's head is to the ground right here. That's exactly what you want. Good. They're fighting. Ooh, nice. Snuck that underhook or that overhook in. Got the inside position with the other hand. Very nice. Got the reverse position. Dave breaks Chris down. Just trying to get the inside position. Dave gets the overhook and swims through. Leg nice and high. Yep, got a control on the far arm. Pretty good. So let's see how he breaks Chris' posture down first. Yep. Gets a collar right into the overhook. Good. I'd like to see that leg a little bit higher, just like the same problem Chris had. Also, if you're having trouble scooting onto your hip, base this outside leg on the floor. That's just a little quick tip to get to that outside position. Or, sorry, the hip outside position. Breaks him down, swims inside, goes to overhook on the forearm, and let's rewind it just a second. Oh, my clicker. So he goes from, I honestly thought he was gonna go for an overhook on this side. He faked me out. Goes to overhook on the far side. He's established a bicep grip on with his right hand, and he moves it right down to the wrist. Excellent. See how Chris's posture is like relatively parallel to the floor. It means his posture is way broken. He's on his elbow. That's good news. His knee could be a little bit higher, but that's pretty good. I think these rounds are 2 minutes long. Chris giving a little bit more resistance. Dave swims inside, gets the overhook. Like to see his overhook a little bit higher and his leg a little bit higher. About halfway through the round. Use the collar to break Chris down. There we go. We saw Dave use his foot to base his hips out. That's very good. I forget what I told him here. Oh, maybe I told him to get his leg a little bit higher. Really break your opponent's posture down. Again, as with most things in jiu-jitsu, if you don't have control of your opponent's posture, there's not much you can do. So again, use the collar. Chris giving a lot of resistance now. Goes side to side to break him down. Gets immediately to the overhook. And gets a grip on the far wrist. Two hands on the collar this time. Breaks him down. So, okay, Chris did something interesting right here, which you're going to see a lot. You broke your opponent down. He's got a position he's still got the inside position here. Even if you go for the overhook, it's not going to be much. Because you don't really have an overhook on your opponent's body. You're just kind of maintaining that position. Let's see how Dave fixes it. Tries to go from the inside. He's going to end up in an underhook. So he's faking the underhook and got to the overhook. Obviously, Chris letting him work a little bit, but not bad. Kirk on the bottom, running the drill with Ant. So not bad. What we have here is you got an underhook here. Again, not bad, but not what we're looking for. I want an overhook for this week. I think I told him as much. There we go. And again, don't bring your posture up to your opponent, or you can initially, but our main goal is to bring our opponent's posture down. So Kirk had a little bit of trouble there, maintaining that overhook posture because he didn't break his opponent's spine down. That was good. He comes up, gets that overhook. I'd like to see him push that arm out a little bit more and break his opponent. Or there we go. Yeah, exactly. Further down here. Yep. Got his leg nice and high. He's way out on his hip. And even though Ant has his hand on the ground here instead of his elbow, it's not much of a threat because he's so broken down on this side. One thing I'd like to see is keep that leg tight to Ant's belly. I should not be able to see that space. And giving a little bit of resistance. Kirk comes up to it. Okay. This is dangerous. Giving your opponent that much space as you sit up. Because even if you've occupied your opponent's far arm here, if Ant were to just take his elbow and push your leg to the ground, he can get an angle, or he could make a position where he could slide this knee over. So be very careful anytime you come up to your opponent. End position looks pretty good. I like to see Kirk a little bit more to his side, but that wasn't bad. Again, be very vigilant with your bottom, with all your limbs, but especially that bottom leg. Do not be lazy with it. I got to be a better cameraman next time. So he comes up to it. Okay, Ant does a good job doing a little cross frame here. Let's see how Kirk deals with it. Yep, gets a grip on it, sits out to the side. End position looks good. Again, this is under a little bit of resistance, maybe like 30, 40%. Looking for that inside position. It's a little bit tough. Okay, so he's got like a girlfriend grip, what we call here. Not quite an overhook, not quite an underhook here. Again, still not bad options. He's got a chance to attack the back here. Just know that it's not a bad option, just not what we're working this week. Does have a grip on the forearm, though, and he's out on his side. I forget what he asked me here. I think he was talking about the grip that he had. Trying to get to that clamp guard position and then end with a submission or sweep. Clamp guard. Okay, going for the omoplata. Gotta let go of that arm though. Gotta let that arm bend. Her left, so Alyssa's left arm should no longer be in this position. That's a little better. So now she's got established control on the lower body. And determine if she's going to go for the omoplata or a sweep or the armbar. I think she's having. Oh yeah, she had her legs backwards. Gonna sit out to the side. Looks like she's going for the omoplata. Now she's gonna tuck her leg to the back. Sit up. Diagonal left. And looking for that inside position and clamp control first. Get a good grip with his right hand on the sleeve. He's trying to get his left hand into an overhook position. Obviously, Chris giving a very little amount of resistance. Looks like he's got it. Oh, that was sloppy. Sloppy on 2 occasions. He lost control of the hand. As soon as you lose control of your hand, your opponent's not going to give it back. Number 2, he tried to go for the triangle without lifting his hips off the ground. Anytime you attack off your back, elevate your hips as high as possible. You can see Chris's arm is still kind of inside. Going to help prevent the triangle. Okay. So Ant does something smart. He switches to an omoplata. Good. Establishes a grip on the lower body. Got to sit out. Break his opponent's posture. Tuck his legs. Okay. Actually, no, that wasn't too bad. And sit across. So this next series of games, pretty much the same thing. We're just trying to end on a submission. Varying levels of resistance. Nowhere near 100%. Britt breaks it down. Gets to the triangle catch. All right, so Zach gives her a look by presenting the omoplata position. Either going to finish the omoplata, or if he rolls, she's going to go for that armbar. Okay, her legs are in a decent position. She's a little bit too parallel right now. And she's pulling the arm in the wrong direction. So, I'd like to see her a little bit more perpendicular this way. And also, again, you're pulling towards wherever the pinky is. That's the direction you're trying to go. That's going to help a little bit. Yep, I'd like to see her feet on the ground. And she's got to pull to the direction of the pinky. That way. Get away further. There we go. That Kosen armbar is a little bit tricky because the angle is a little bit different. But I really like it. I go for that instead of the omoplata, to be honest with you. And on top, Zach on the bottom. Zach starting in the clamp guard. Looks like he's got very good control of our wrist. Gets the leg over. Let's see if he can shelf it on the shoulder. There we go. Shelves it on the shoulder. And should be posturing up right now to defend it against the triangle. But Zach keeping him down. There we go. Now he's posturing up. Gonna sit back to try and break this. Oh, left his arm out. Oh, sneaky. Let's see how he got there. He was doing the right things to protect against the triangle. However, he left his arm out there. We're going to go over triangle defense soon because we went over triangle offense this week. But he left that arm out there. At the very least, he could have gripped the gi to make it hard for Zach to break that grip. You can see his fingers are already loose. By the time he realizes he's in danger, it's too late. Strong guy like Zach going to get that arm every time. Dave got the clamp guard against Chris. Chris trying to posture up, his hand on the ground. Dave's got bicep control with his right arm. Chris trying to limp arm out. Oh, gets put into omoplata though. Ooh, that was nice. Dave trying to go for the omoplata, preventing him from rolling. Oh, but he got lazy. He got lazy with the arms and the legs, and Chris was able to slip right out. That was actually that was a great sequence. Let's look at that again. So he's got the clamp guard, pushing on the far bicep. Chris tries to limp arm out, but Dave's got a good enough clamp, so he's caught at the elbow. That allows Dave to break his posture further. I don't know if you saw it, but his left leg snuck up. Should be on the same side of Chris's head as his body right now. Gets the omoplata. Very good control, addressing the lower body. Going to be real hard for Chris to roll over now. Boom. Exactly. Chris is trying. He's not getting it. But at some point, Dave gets lazy with the leg and the arm slips out. Okay. I don't know if you saw it, but his legs are no longer crossed here. Not that it's really easy for Chris to limp arm out, but he eventually can, especially if he's able to sit up, which I think he does. Here, he sits up. Oh, his arm's already out at this point. So he just lost control of the arm, and then Chris was able to sit up. Let that be a lesson to you guys. Zach with the clamp guard on Ant. Ant's posture super broken. Look, he's off his knees. He's almost completely flat to the ground. The overhook might prevent him, but if I were Zach, I'd actually be trying to get up this way. And if Ant stops me, I could probably manipulate this arm into a triangle. Let's see what Zach does. Zach's trying to get up exactly. So if Zach wanted to, this gap might be a little bit too small, but he might be able to slip this leg through this way for a triangle. No, it looks like Ant built back a base. Oh, all right. But Zach has control with his right arm here. Looks like he's also got an elevator here, and we can see that Ant is based out onto his right leg right now. My theory is that he's going to sweep him that way. Oh, maybe not. Oh, a simple sweep. Let's get that again. Here. Kind of like a modified scissor sweep. So he occupied Ant's right leg, unable to post with his left foot. And he didn't even use his leg as an elevator. He just kind of simply rolled his opponent over using this arm here. Oh, he based off the floor. So that his Zach's right leg based off the floor here. Left leg is occupying his opponent's post. Right hand is elevating for a little bit more leverage. Ends up on top. So we got Dave and Ant going at it. And on the bottom's got a tight overhook here. Looks like he's got control on the far side. He's got to get his hips out a little bit more. Again, he's got to get his hips out this way. He's flat on his back right now. Not impossible to do anything from there, but for what we worked this week, I'd like him to be a little bit more on his side. There we go. Bases his foot on the floor. Let's see if he uses that to hip out a little bit. Gets on his side. Okay, let me rewind it just for a second. If you look at Dave's hand right here, he's doing the right thing. He's trying to push Ant's leg to the floor so he could pass. Now, that also prevents Ant from being able to turn completely without impunity, because once he starts hipping out this way, this leg for sure will hit the floor. So Ant's got to make a decision. Oh, there we go. Strips the grip. Now he can sit out on his side if he wants. I'd like to see him grab. Yeah, I was about to say he was grabbing the gi. I'd like to see him grab the actual wrist. Now he's on his side. Now he can make something happen. Starts squaring up. Oh, okay. He let go of the hand, but it looks like he's going for an omoplata. Or a shotgun armbar, maybe. Looks like he's going for something. He at least got the sweep. But let's look at how he ended up there. He actually let go of the triangle hand. I don't know if you can see it from here. So he lets go to make an angle for the omoplata. Dave is trying to push that down to pass, but he's got his posture broken, and goes for the easy omoplata. Gets the sweep. Dave in the clamp guard. Pretty good posture here. Okay, he got squared up again. So now he's got some other problems to deal with. It still looks like he has the overhook there. Zach already starting in the clamp guard. Looks like he's pretty far out, controlling that far wrist. This is the danger. And stepping over. Again, he's a little bit off his base. If I were Zach, I'd try to overhook that other arm so he can't post with it, scoot my hips out this way, and either elevate with this leg or push this arm over for the easy sweep. Let's see how it goes. Rewind 1 second. The reason he wasn't able to complete the sweep is because he wasn't controlling Ant's far arm, so Ant's able to post here. We go back to reset. Looks like Zach likes a scissor sweep, so I'd assume he's working that scissor sweep. Yep, attempts it. Probably going to work a scissor sweep on the other side. There we go. Let's see if Ant goes for the clamp guard here. Well, maybe not. Nate on the bottom, Chris on top. Running it, getting to the clamp guard. Got to be a little bit more onto his side. I think I tell him as much. Yeah. He's going to base out on his opponent's hips, get a little bit more to the side. Way more to the side. There we go. Make sure his leg. No, never mind. So Chris is starting to posture up. Let's see how not Zach. Let's see how Nate deals with it now. Oh, okay. Switches the Omoplata. That was nice. Secures the leg. Chris's posture is still nice and high. Okay. Beautiful. Controls that hip. Trying to sit him out. Again, Omoplata is going to be hard to finish. You got to break your opponent's posture completely down. Chris recognizing danger, trying to get the arm off, trying to roll. If I were Nate, I'd let him roll and either take the sweep or go for that Kosen armbar. Or go for a choke. Here we go. Zach in the clamp guard. Dave trying to work his way out. Zach's got to get a little bit more onto his side. He's a little bit flat right now. He's got to be careful that Dave doesn't do anything. Oh, see, that's exactly what I mean about keeping this leg. Oh, where's my clicker? About keeping your bottom leg vigilant. Let's rewind it for just a second. Here. No, a little bit more. So here, Zach has lost control of Dave's arm. That's problem number one. Problem number two is he's a little bit square to the floor here. Now, Dave has a grip on Zach's arm. He's the one controlling the situation on that left side. Look at what he does with his left elbow. Inserts it, puts it to the floor, connects his knee and his elbow here. Slides over, starts to pass. Zach going for a Hail Mary loop choke here. See if it works out. Oh, maybe it does. Oh, and Dave goes to the mount. Nice. Got Chris on the bottom working the clamp guard. Zach trying to pass. Good control of the wrist by Chris. Looks like he's going for a triangle. Oh, switches to Kimura. Zach holding that arm tight and deep. I'd like to see Chris on the wrist. There we go. Oh, let's look at that combination again. All right. So, goes for the clamp guard. He doesn't have an overhook on the other side, but he's doing a good job keeping Zach tight with a hook around the neck. Zach looking to pass. Doesn't quite get it. Manages to get control of the wrist again. Goes for a triangle. Doesn't get it. Now goes for the Kimura. Zach wise to it. I don't know if you can see his grip here, but he's gripping his own arm. Chris has a decision to make. He sits back. I don't think he voluntarily sat back. I think Zach put him back. Gets the wrist again. Zach split his hands for a split second. Boom. And Chris was there for it. Here. Switches to Kimura. Kimura sweep. I'd like to see this arm a little bit tighter because he does get stalled here for a second, but manages to finish the sweep. Now we got Chris on the bottom, Nate on top, starting in that clamp guard. They go. Oh, okay. Don't be lazy with that bottom leg, right? Even though Chris had control of that arm, he allowed Nate to get a position on the inside, and he's going to put it to the floor here. Let's look at that again. It was here. Gets lazy with that leg. Nate comes right over it. Chris managed to recover the guard. Unfortunately, he knees Nate in the jaw, which will happen a lot from the clamp guard. I'm not going to lie. I should say a lot, but relatively a lot. So Chris is forced to abandon, and he's forced to go back to the clamp guard. But again, lazy with that bottom leg. Nate's able to step over. He hasn't quite passed yet. There we go. That was nice. Let's look at how he set that up. So he's on the verge of being passed. He managed to square back up with the overhook and control of that far wrist. Boom. Now he's in a good time to attempt that triangle. Stuffs it. Gets to the triangle. Gets to the catch. Yep, right about here. Let's see if he can finish. Turning that angle. Turning that angle. Very nice. Aaliyah on top and Britt on the bottom, starting the clamp guard. Britt's a little flat on her back right now. Got to angle out, unless she wants to go first. Oh, but she's managed to stuff Aaliyah's hand across her chest. She can do anything with that. Maybe she stuffs the wrist. She can go for a triangle. Oh no, decides to go back to kind of like a full guard position here. Really intent on controlling Aaliyah's left hand. Sits out. Oh, going for something. Maybe a dead orchard. Maybe not. Oh, never mind. I thought that was gonna be Aaliyah doing a great job getting her right hand back out. She might get pendulum swept from here though. Yep, looks like Britt's making an angle. So this is the angle of Aaliyah's spine. This is the angle of Britt's spine. She's gonna try and get perpendicular and cut that angle. If Aaliyah can't get this arm out, she's gonna get swept. Oh, it wasn't pretty, but we got there. Yeah. So when you pendulum sweep someone, you're most likely gonna have to control that arm either across your body or overhook it like Britt did. I prefer going across the body because it gives you a better angle as well, but it really prevents your opponent from being able to take that arm out. Starting to clamp guard again. There's a little bit more on her side this time. It settles to go back underneath her opponent. I think she's satisfied with the close guard. And they end there. Pat in the clamp guard. I like to see him a little bit more on the side. Swings. Oh, never mind. He swings parallel. Okay, and that was beautiful. Let's look at that again. So he's not quite out on his side. Here he realizes him and Ant probably have the same arm length, wingspan, if you will. So it's going to be hard to get it over without kneeing, if he was on his side, without kneeing Ant in the face. So he settles here. And now, instead of going through, he goes around. Nice. How did you do that? Let me look at that again. He's here. Oh, not far enough. He's here. He swings it around his own arm. That was awesome. Gets him in the catch. Doing a great job controlling Ant's posture. He might be able to go for a TP choke from here. Turning the angle a little bit. Got to fix the arm. Oh, maybe not. Maybe it's good. Doing a great job pulling down on the head. Okay, so the pressure from pulling the head and getting that slight angle was enough to finish that triangle. Excuse me. You'll notice he wasn't completely perpendicular to his opponent. Grip fighting with the left hand. Oh, it's going to get caught in triangle again. Great job stuffing that arm. And trying to sit back, going for that, not Hail Mary, but that Chael Sonnen escape that he tried on Anderson Silva in their first fight. Oh, looks like got tapped with the Kimura. Got Kirk on top, Pat on the bottom. I'm fighting for that hand positioning. Oh, okay, never mind. Kirk's trying to get his knee over Pat's foot. Very smart. Okay, uses his hand to stuff that leg. Now he's out of immediate triangle danger. Pat still has a... Oh, don't know what that is. Just zoomed in on his booty. Got a great grip on... re-grip, I should say, because he did lose it for a second. On Kirk's far arm. Kirk using that hand. Pushes knee down. Pat switches to a half butterfly. Now they're in a standing passing situation. Kirk going for like a weird... Oh, okay, and Pat has a reverse De La Riva here, but Kirk is floating that leg. I can't tell who's... Oh, okay, the brace is Pat's. Oh, Kirk almost... Oh, yeah, into the front headlock. And they reset. So again, prevent your opponent from being able to step over that leg. Either push your leg down or step over it. 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Same thing. Don't let him pass. Starting like a scissor guard position. Kirk doing a good job controlling the... Oh, wait, let's look at how that happened. Let's look at how that happened. And that is why Pat is a black belt. So they get to a seated position. Here. Pat is still controlling Kirk's left hand. Oh. There you go. Kirk is controlling Pat's left foot. Or right foot with his left hand. He feels pretty secure here. Oh, okay. As soon as he got that hand down and Pat pulled his posture down, you can already see Pat scooting in for that. almost flying triangle. Okay, now he's going for the TP. Shortcut to the triangle choke. Pat on the bottom, Jacob on top. Pat got a great control over Jacob. Okay, so he managed to stuff the hand for a second, but then he let go in order to control his head. Decision time, right? That allowed Jacob to get a handle back on his leg. It's going to be real hard to finish the triangle or get to a triangle position from there. So he settles back for the hip. Let's see if he goes back to controlling the hand. Nope, still on the head. Jacob trying to put... Oh, okay. So Jacob was trying to push that leg down. Pat sits up, goes for a guillotine. Interesting. Oh, rolls him, sweeps him. Yep, and then there, they're going to reset. Reset back to the clam guard. We got a different view this time. So back in the clam guard. Modified. It's not really the clam guard, it's a modified clam guard. From here, again, so Pat does something interesting. He lets Jacob, let me rewind it here. He lets Jacob get a grip on his leg. He completely abandons this grip here. He lets Jacob get a grip. Let's see what he's got planned. Oh, okay. So, oh, wow. He's swinging. Okay. So he managed to get that triangle by swinging that leg out wide. Here. Boom. Swings it way wide. Makes the adjustment. Gets to the triangle here. Jacob hiding his arm because he doesn't want to get triangled. Pat coming up. Looks is going for the omoplata. Maybe. Looks like he's still fishing for the triangle. Trying to go for a Kimura from here. Another great option. Especially Nogi when they don't have the belt or the gi to hold on to. Okay, now he switches to an omoplata. Nice. Still looking for that Kimura. Maybe he's looking for the armbar now. It's anticipating his opponent's going to roll. The ops is going to roll. Okay, so here he's looking for that hand. Jacob finds a little bit of daylight and manages. Watch. Now, before Pat can start forcing him to roll this way, he's going to get his arm out on this side, so he's no longer in omoplata danger. Boom. However, there we go. That's what I thought. Pat's very savvy. He's going to switch back to the triangle. Pull his head down. Beautiful triangle. Oh, no, he's not going for the triangle. It looks like he's intent on practicing his omoplata. I think the round's going to end like this. Oh, maybe not. Okay, goes for the omoplata again. And Jacob hits the same escape. So, how can we prevent that? Make sure you're... It's a situation by situation call. If I feel like my opponent's going to be able to take his arm out this way, I'm going to sit up and make it physically harder for him to get his fist across my chest here. Or you could literally just hold it with your hands here. Your left hand is probably going to be occupied. What is it? I hesitate to say draping, controlling your opponent's lower body so they can't roll, if that's your intention. So you are left with kind of a weird grip trying to get this arm across. Jacob gets out. And Pat tries to swing to a triangle again. And they end there. Kirk on the bottom, Pat on top. Pat doing a good job squaring Kirk back up, but he's not out of danger yet. Oh, it looks like Kirk lost control of Pat's arm. Still got the overhook. Oh, okay. Opts to sit back out. Kind of lost control of everything. Got to the catch. Obviously, Pat. Oh, that was a little like weird hip bump. Or a little dummy sweep. Tries to link it to the hip bump. But Pat's posture was too low. So the reason that hip bump failed here, Pat's posture is super low here. This sweep works best when your opponent's posture is high and they're kind of sitting back a little bit. Pat, very savvy to that. Steps one leg over, steps the other leg over. And now Kirk is mounted. We're starting in the clamp guard. Good. Oh, okay. Pat scooted back. I don't know what his intention was. Maybe he's just giving, Kirk a couple different looks. Kirk, goes for a triangle, but actually ends up in the omoplata position. I don't think he realizes what he has. There we go. Nice. Pat savvy sits back. Kirk should switch to a triangle from here. Still working that omoplata. Oh, okay, there we go. Pat's letting him work. Letting him cook, as the kids say. Pat's arm is way underneath him. It's going to be hard to finish, but he gets the dummy roll. Nice. Ends up on top. I'm a terrible cameraman. I apologize. He's going to sit back for the armbar. Almost. So, what Kirk was trying to do from this seated position is scoot his butt this way, point his knees in the same direction they're going now, and try and go for that Kosen armbar. Pat obviously wise to it. As Kirk tried, he rolled instead of scooting his butt, which was going to be hard, and gets past.